All right, guys. So once again, we got to talk about how apparently NASCAR doesn't like their fan base, right? I mean, because that is the only explanation I can come to based off what we're seeing them do in regards to this Let's Go Brandon thing. Okay, because I did a video maybe a few days ago, actually, in which Brandon Brown was having issues getting a sponsor because his name was associated with Let's Go Brandon, the new kind of rallying cry on the right to express discontent in the Biden presidency. It means F Joe Biden. All you guys know that, obviously. Now, this happened because Brandon Brown was being interviewed by NBC reporter Kelly Stavast, in which Kelly Stavast said that the crowd that was yelling F Joe Biden at the time was actually saying, "Let's go Brandon," right? And that is how this meme was born. Now, because he's associated with it, even though he doesn't really have anything to do with it outside of that, he's suffering the consequences for it. Woke corporate America has tried to cancel this man. And being a NASCAR driver, he needs sponsorships from corporate America in order to feed his family, okay? In order to fund his operations. He needs that, right? But again, unfortunately, because woke corporate America doesn't want to be associated with anything having to do with conservatives or the right, for whatever reason they believe that conservatives don't have money, they decided to cancel him, right? Again, even though he has nothing to do with it. Now, capitalism, right? Real capitalism, true capitalism, tried to save Brandon as Let's Go Brandon coin, which is a cryptocurrency, decided to sponsor Brandon Brown. And what I saw is the perfect partnership, right? Brandon capitalizing on a meme that is using his name. I don't see any problems with it. But apparently NASCAR does, as there was reports that they initially approved the sponsorship, and then after that, they had to go back into review, right? High-level review. Now it's coming out that NASCAR actually has rejected the Let's Go Brandon cryptocurrency sponsorship for Brandon Brown. NASCAR is basically saying, we don't approve of this sponsorship. And people are saying it's because NASCAR don't want to be political. Even though they've shown us in the past that NASCAR has no issues being political. But now all of a sudden, we don't want to be in politics anymore when it comes to this sponsorship. I find this to be absolutely disgusting from NASCAR. But let's read here. Brandon Brown won't be capitalizing on his Let's Go Brandon fame on the side of his Xfinity Series car. Per multiple reports, NASCAR will not allow Brown to run a sponsorship from a Let's Go Brandon cryptocurrency on his car in 2022. Brown's team announced last week that he had secured a full season deal with the Let's Go Brandon coin to be on its car in the second tier Xfinity Series. NASCAR immediately said that the team's announcement was premature and made the decision Tuesday to bar the sponsorship from happening. I don't think it was premature because before in the past, again, NASCAR was cool with all types of political sponsorships. They had no problems with it. I mean, in 2020, they did a whole lot of Trump stuff. They did BLM stuff too, right? But now all of a sudden, in 2022, we don't really want to do this anymore. Yeah, I find it interesting. But the reason why NASCAR is saying it's premature is because allegedly NASCAR told Brandon Brown back in like November that, hey, if you get a sponsorship dealing with this message right here, Let's Go Brandon, we're not going to approve it. Right? Apparently, they told him that back in November. Now, when Brandon Brown actually submitted the paperwork, him and his team, about his partnership with LGB Coin, allegedly, he only listed it as a cryptocurrency. He didn't really list it as Let's Go Brandon Coin. Now, apparently, somebody at the lower levels of NASCAR approved it, but apparently, they didn't really look up anything about the sponsorship, right? They didn't look up anything about the company that was sponsoring Brandon Brown, which I find to be interesting, right? How they're not really doing much research into the companies that are sponsoring these cars, okay? So apparently, NASCAR basically felt like they were tricked, okay, by Brandon in regards to the sponsorship. This is why they're saying that it was premature, right? The approval, okay? Now, apparently, some people at the higher levels of NASCAR caught wind of what the Let's Go Brandon coin actually means, and they shut it down. Okay, so apparently that is what happened. And also what NASCAR is saying as a part of their reason as well is that, well, we want to respect the office of the president, right? We don't want to be associated with a phrase that is disrespectful to the president of the United States, right? That's why they were so gung-ho about not having Let's Go Brandon be on their merchandise or be associated with their trademark, right? They don't really want to be associated with it. Now, here's my thing. In the past, NASCAR has got away with allowing politics in their sport because they say, hey, listen, what teams put on their cars is between them and their sponsors, okay? We ain't really got all that much to do with it. The political views of the teams and their sponsors are their views. It's not necessarily the views of NASCAR. We're just going to allow it for the most part, okay? It's the same thing with UFC. When fighters can wear clothes and merchandise from their sponsors, okay? It ain't really got that much to do with the UFC. It doesn't mean that the UFC approves of it, of any of that stuff. All it simply means is that, hey, this is what these fighters are wearing and this is who is sponsoring them, right? That's all it means. Now, with that being said, I generally am opposed to having politics in sports, but when the model is that, hey, it's just an individual sponsorship, this is done in an individual sport, okay, and the league in and of themselves or, the overall sport authority is not sponsoring, they're not approving of it, I can see how I'd be okay with that because, again, this is how these individuals actually feed their family. So I'm cool with politics and sports when it comes to corporate sponsorships that are meant to support individuals, okay? Now, what I'm not cool with is what the NFL and the NBA were doing, in which the whole league, the entire league, was pushing a political agenda. Okay, they were pushing a political ideology. But the model of NASCAR and UFC is different than that. Okay, they're saying, listen, we're not really associated with what these teams put on their cars. That's between them. We just let them do it because that's how they feed their families. That's how they fund their team activities. So for the life of me, I really don't understand how NASCAR goes from that to, well, we just don't want to be associated with politics at all, right? We just don't want anything political at all. We don't want anything political. Again, this is the same company that gave a full-throated endorsement to Black Lives Matter. They went all in on the fake Bubba Smollett news scandal, right? They went all in on it. Pushed Black Lives Matter afterwards. Had grown men crying on the track, talking about racism, right? That was all about politics. Now, all of a sudden, when that wears off and they realize that, hey, woke people don't really want to watch NASCAR like that, right? Our fan base, they're conservative. All of a sudden now, we don't want to be associated with politics. Again, I don't get it. Like, does NASCAR actually hate their fan base? I think they do because it seems like they want to get rid of their fan base. That's what it seems like. Now, apparently, there's been some movement inside of NASCAR in which there's been some diversity hires, particularly at the top, that probably are involved in pushing a lot of this stuff, right? There are probably people that have been hired that have said, hey, you know what? We don't necessarily want to be associated with all this right-wing stuff. They hired some woke revolutionaries. With that being said, in my opinion, I believe that if we were to see a resurgence of Black Lives Matter in this country, right? If some incident happens where Black Lives Matter start protesting the street again, I guarantee you NASCAR would be totally fine with a team putting Black Lives Matter on their car. I guarantee you. And the reason why is because if they were to deny a sponsorship like that, or if they were to tell a team that, hey, you can't put Black Lives Matter on your car, they'll be called racist. Right? And the last thing NASCAR wants to do is be called racist. They'd rather alienate their own fan base than to be called racist. Okay? So again, I guarantee you, in 2022, if somebody was to try to put Black Lives Matter on the car, they'll be cool with it. They'll be cool with it. But when it's something associated with a right-wing movement like Let's Go Brandon, oh, no, we don't want to be in politics anymore. Right? We don't like politics. NASCAR, again, in my opinion, is literally showing you how to lose a fan base 101, right? How to turn off a fan base 101, okay? Because it seems like that's what they want to do. Listen, here's the thing. NASCAR decided that they want to allow politics. They allowed Trump. They allowed BLM, right? Once you step into that arena, you can't step out of it, right? You can't step out of it. Now that they're trying to step out of it, it's really, in my opinion, it's really going to hurt them because it seems like they're targeting their own fan base. That's what it seems like. That, along with, banning the Confederate flag, all types of other stuff that they've been doing, right? They've been a lot more vocal about how they don't want to be associated with political stuff. And when they are vocal about it, they're specifically talking about stuff associated with the right. Again, to me, it sounds like your problem is not necessarily politics. Your problem is that you don't want to be associated with a certain kind of politics. That's what it sounds like to me. That's what it sounds like. So I think this is a bad move from NASCAR. They should just allow politics, let these teams be sponsored by whoever they want, let capitalism work, and say, listen, we ain't got nothing to do with it, but y'all should watch, right? Let's see if a BLM car can beat a Trump car. Let's see who can win. It's the same thing the UFC does. I don't understand what the big issue is. They're making it more controversial than what it actually is by doing this. And I think that the worst part about this for Brandon is that he's already been canceled by woke corporate America. NASCAR just told him that he can't be sponsored by a Let's Go Brandon coin, essentially something that's associated with the right. I don't understand how this man is going to be able to fund his team activities and to feed his family, right? It's going to be hard, in my opinion, for him to actually recover from this. And NASCAR is making it worse because of them now all of a sudden becoming apolitical, right? It's kind of crazy. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.